Good morning, church. It's Drew here with our daily devotion for Monday, January the 25th, 2021. I'll get these dates right one of these days. Our text for today is Isaiah 56, verses 1 through 8, and I'm going to read from the Message translation. God's message: guard my common good. Do what's right and do it in the right way, for salvation is just around the corner. My setting things right is about to go into action. How fortunate are you who enter into these things, you men and women who embrace them, who keep Sabbath and don't defile it, who watch your step and don't do anything evil. Make sure no outsider who now follows God ever has occasion to say, God put me in second class, I don't really belong. And make sure no physically mutilated person is ever made to think, I'm damaged goods, I don't really belong. For God says, to the mutilated who keep my Sabbath and choose what delights me and keep a firm grip on my covenant, I'll provide them an honored place in my family and within my city, even more honored than that of sons and daughters. I'll confer permanent honors on them that will never be revoked. And as for the outsiders who now follow me, working for me, loving my name, and wanting to be my servants, all who keep Sabbath and don't defile it, holding fast to my covenant, I'll bring them to my holy mountain and give them joy in my house of prayer. They'll be welcome to worship the same as the insiders, to bring burnt offerings and sacrifices to my altar. Oh yes, my house of worship will be known as a house of prayer for all people. The decree of the Master, God Himself, who gathers in the exiles of Israel, I will gather others also. Gather them in with those already gathered. What a beautiful passage from Isaiah 56. I love it. It is so hopeful, especially for those who feel left out, neglected, or less than. It is a profound word of hope for the foreigners and the different or eunuchs in our midst. The Message translation really brings out that sentiment in ways that other translations miss, I think. Jesus quotes from it in the Gospels, too. It's a very important part of the history of the people of God. We have been working to make our temple, our church, a house of prayer for all people. As you likely know, the 24/7 prayer vigil has been going on since the middle of December. 50 or 60 faithful people have been praying at all hours of the day and night with an intense focus on keeping our church in the center of God's will, wherever that leads. We have claimed Ephesians 4 as our primary prayer passage, leaning on the unity of the Spirit that is the bond of peace. It's been really a beautiful thing for all who have participated, I think. Today, I want to share some personal reflections on being a part of this 24/7 prayer vigil. While I certainly pray every day, I do have several intentional hours of prayer for our church. My official times are 5 to 6 a.m. Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. At first, it was quite hard to pray and worship for a whole hour, but I did start using the order for daily prayer that we provided on the website, and that has helped so much to kind of guide that time. I really enjoy having some time to just worship God first in song, word, thought, to read and reflect on various passages of Scripture, and to then pray through the areas of focus that we have listed on the 24/7 prayer page. These are some things that I have noticed about myself in these last 6 weeks or so. There is a deepening of thought about matters of faith and life. It feels like I've slowed down enough in those 3 hours to really let the Spirit work deeply in my own mind and heart. I have been called in this last 6 weeks into some very complicated situations where God has moved quickly and with great clarity. It's been amazing to see that happen. I have a renewed hunger to lead the church into the heart of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Then I feel God's call upon our church to reach 100 new families in 2021. That's so exciting and so incredible. Most days I also feel an overwhelming sense of God's love for the church and for the world, both together. I have a deep sense of God's peace in the face of the complicated realities of church and public life. I also recognize a great season of challenge ahead of the church, and yet I am profoundly hopeful that God has called us together for such a time as this to help our whole community discover what it looks like when the church gets it right in terms of living the gospel. I'm really interested to hear from others of you who have been on this 24/7 prayer journey as well. I think God is moving in our midst in some powerful ways, and I think the church is uniquely positioned to show the world what it looks like when brothers and sisters get to live together in unity, even when there is not uniformity. Only God can make that happen, and God is inviting us into exactly that. I hope you will feel a sense of hopeful excitement about the future today, and that you'll consider how you can be part of all that God is doing to get us ready as a church family. If you'll read below the video in the text, you'll find sign-ups for the 24/7 prayer vigil. You can also learn more about life groups and how you can sign up to be part of our great life group experiment for 2021. And finally, I hope you'll help us spread the good news of what Jesus is doing in this place. It's deeply, deeply good, and I am so glad to be on the journey with you. I love you folks, and I'm praying that you'll have a beautiful, wonderful Monday. Talk to you soon. Thank you.